G'day everyone. Kia ora everyone. Welcome back to the Building Empires podcast. I got a very special guest here with me today. But before we get into today's episode, let's roll that intro. Let's go. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. G'day everybody, and welcome to the Building Empires podcast. I'm your host Jace. You ready to talk some shit or what? Let's go. Yeah, nice. G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of the Building Empires podcast. Like I said, I'm joined by a very special guest here with me today. He's the Vice President of the Southeast Titans Rugby League Club. He's a co-host of the Six Against show. He's also one of the outlaws in the family. Introducing the brother-in-law, TJ. G'day, mate.
Hey, how's it going, man? How's it going? Thanks for having me on, man.
No worries. Firstly, one thing that I always play music to get them a bit thing, but I wanted to start something different. I didn't want to do any music anymore because it was always nerve-wracking to choose the right song. So hopefully you don't mind that. Oh, what the heck? Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro. Easy.
Okay, cool. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Anyways, thank you again. So I just want to say thank you for jumping on such short notice. But you know, a lot of things happening at the moment, and you're the best person that I feel like I wanted to talk to about especially around mental health. So first of all, I just want to do a quick checkup. So how are you going at the moment with everything?
Yeah, bro. Look, I'm pretty good. Obviously, you know our situation at the moment, and I'm pretty sure we'll touch on that a little bit later on. So I'll save all of those details for when we get to that part. But at the moment, man, I'm good. I am catching up on a lot of TV series that I haven't seen.
I saw you share something. I'm like, they're probably TV series. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So I for the last couple of days, I've just been trying to stay positive. With everything that's happening, again, like I said, we'll touch on that later on. But as far as how I'm going, I'm pretty good. I think the worst is behind me now. So yeah, I'm good.
Cool. So if obviously people don't know what we're talking about, if you don't mind, let's get into it straight away right now. So you might have caught something unexpected. Aren't you jammed? Nah, joke. But yeah, I guess walk us through what's transpired over the last, I guess, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, so the November what was it? So not this Thursday gone, the week before that, I went and got myself tested, and the results came back positive.
Oh yeah, for what? What was that for?
So that was for coronavirus. So I've been ducking and dodging the sickness for the past 2.5 years, and it finally caught up to me. But I think it was a good thing that it did happen to me, because you hear stories about other people catching it and how severe it is for them. So
yeah,
happening to me was a bit of an eye opener. Not so much the sickness in itself and its effects on me, but more so that I guess just a built up fear in the house.
Yeah.
So just to sort of backtrack on, so the 30th of October we did the walk, right?
Yeah.
And then so it was that Thursday I went and got tested, but the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday leading up to that Thursday, I wasn't feeling the best anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I was just thinking, oh fuck, maybe I was just overworking myself. We did the walk, I went straight to work the next day, sore legs and everything.
Yeah, sore legs.
My initial thoughts were oh, maybe I was just a bit run down, because I didn't actually allow myself any time to sort of rest and recover.
Mm-hmm.
And the week before that, leading up to the walk, was a pretty full-on week at work. So my thoughts for that Monday and Tuesday were oh, you know what?
Stress or body.
Just my
fatigue.
Actually, that's the word, fatigue. I actually thought it was just fatigue. And then by the Wednesday, I wasn't feeling the greatest. And even at work, I was asked to stay back and do to extend my shift. And usually I would say yes, but the Wednesday was probably the first time I said no.
Yeah.
I had already made plans to take Thursday and Friday off, and with the symptoms I had at the time. So I get really bad hay fever.
Yep.
So the runny nose, the sneezing, the whole eyes, all of that stuff when my hay fever kicks in, especially last year at the height of the whole pandemic thing, like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people thought I had COVID because of my hay fever. So like that Thursday, I was thinking like, oh no, it's just, you know, my hay fever's just kicking in now, so better go and get checked. So I went to the doctor. Oh, actually, I booked a phone call with my GP, and she was like, oh, you know, just do your normal routine, like make sure you've got your hay fever tablets, your nasal sprays and all that, and you know, just go and get tested as well. So like
Mm-hmm.
I went and got tested, and my results didn't come back that Thursday. It actually came in on the Friday, but that Thursday night we were like, oh yeah, because it's taken so long, like
Oh yeah.
we were all pretty confident it's going to come back negative. So Friday, I think it was Friday night. Yeah, Friday night we were sitting around in the lounge, and the text message came through, and I was reading it, and at first I thought it was like, I actually thought it was a fuck up, because like it had taken so long, and everybody always says that if you test positive, you get a phone call straight away.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, nah, these guys have like, they've got it wrong. But when I actually went through the text message properly, it was like, it was actually legit. So,
True. So
so
what did you feel like at that moment?
man, I was at first I was laughing about it, because like, I thought it was like, I thought it was funny, because my thoughts were like, man, you know, I was talking shit about the sickness for the last year and a half or whatever, and
Yeah.
like now I've got it.
Yeah, true.
So like for me, I was like, oh fuck. Took the like, you know, it took it long enough to catch up to me.
So my thinking around this, like obviously I don't want to ask you how'd you get it, but like what did it feel like? And I guess how did you differentiate that from like your normal symptoms that you have, like not being like a doctor or anything, like when you experience your hay fever and whatnot?
So for me, it was I couldn't tell the difference, to be honest.
Okay.
Like I said, I honestly thought like it was fatigue and it was my hay fever kicking in. Um I usually I usually don't get sick a lot, but
Yep.
usually when I do get sick, it's usually around the time the weather changes. I don't know why, but it always seems like whether we move into like you know, winter, or when we're coming out of winter, it's usually around the times when I get sick. And
Yep.
my usual go-to sickness is actually tonsillitis.
Mm.
Like I thought all of that was leading into having tonsillitis from that Monday, but yeah, when I did the test and it came back positive, that was I think that I that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was COVID related. Like now that I actually look back on it, I don't think it was my hay fever and all that. Like even though I still have that now, I actually think it was more COVID related than anything else. But
True.
I didn't have like anything to sort of compare that experience to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you sort of just go to what you're used to and what you know.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so that's how all of that happened. And been at home now, been in lockdown for the last 7 and a bit days, and hopefully by the 18th, well, 18th I get my freedom back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to get tested, and fingers crossed that comes back negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the like I guess the major like symptoms that you felt? Like, you know, they talk about like having like a headache that's like deeper than a migraine and stuff like that. So what was like the main thing that you experienced that you probably never experienced like normally?
So depending depending who you ask, like I would say for me it was the sleep. Like I just came home feeling really tired and just like knocking off to sleep straight away. If you ask my wife, she'll say that I sleep all the time. But I just felt like those times were different to when you sort of have like your after work nap kind of thing. Like
Hmm.
it was pretty much like straight to work, straight home, on the bed, and I was out. And that was probably my, I guess for me, the symptom that I thought was a bit odd,
Yeah.
compared to like, you know, your normal, I guess, tiredness from the flu and all that other stuff. So yeah, for me it
Mm.
was actually the sleeping. So I didn't have any of the like the shortness of breath or anything.
Yep.
And again, like with the runny nose and the coughing and that, I'd put that up to my hay fever.
Cool.
Suppose.
I guess for those who don't know, like, you know, what's the protocols and stuff that you had to do straight away? And then like, I guess, do they check up on you every so often? How does that work?
So I'm actually really grateful for my wife. Like when I broke the news, she sort of got shitty at me. With,
How's that your fault?
yeah, bro. So like for the first, I think my fear wasn't that I had coronavirus. My fear was that I could potentially spread it to those living in the same house as me.
Yeah.
Especially like, with Martha and her heart condition. And to top it off, like we picked up baby that day.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, so we were thinking, like, we were hoping for the best, and it actually came back negative. So
and how did that conversation go before you continue on, like messaging B and that?
so we called them, and like I called them just after their volleyball game, I think it was.
Yep.
And I called Anna, and I was like, oh, where's Sui? Because they were visiting somebody, and Tui jumped on the phone, and I was like, oh, look, I got a bit of bad news. My result came back positive, and, they sort of just looked at me, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not joking, like, I'm being pretty serious here.
Yeah.
I said to them, like, I don't, because I was really careful when I picked baby up. Like, I made sure not to, kiss her or be too close to her, because, for those of you who don't know, it is an airborne virus. So I was sort of already taking those protocols, or, taking that initiative to try and keep my distance from her. But I mean, you just never know. So when I told them that I had come back positive, they were in shock. And like I sort of said to them, like, it's up to them whether they wanted to come and pick up baby. But I explained to them, like, it doesn't really matter whether she stays with us or not, because we're going to be in lockdown anyways. So my thing was, I didn't want to have given it to baby and their baby going back to Auntie Rose and uncle, because they're in that high risk category.
Yep, exactly.
Elderly.
Yep.
So that was another thing that I was scared of. So I sort of said to them, like, she can stay with us because we're all going to be home anyways.
Yep.
At least that way, when we do come out of lockdown, we can sort of come out of lockdown confidently, knowing that we haven't sort of spread it, or there isn't a potential for her to go back home and spread it to her family. So
yeah, of course.
So that's how that conversation.
That's crazy, man. All right.
Yeah.
And then so go back to what's the protocols with DHS and stuff. So how do they check up on you, and what's that all about?
So they so what they do is, for the first 2 days after your after the results come back positive, so the Saturday I got a phone call in the afternoon, and they were just running me through like these questions, like, what symptoms do you have, where do you think you caught it, all of that stuff. And then Sunday I got another follow-up phone call, and it was the same sort of questions. But then from the Monday even up till now, they send you like this text message with a link, and it's like it's a way to sort of sorry, excuse me. It's a way to sort of track if there's been any changes in your health.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like it's just, I think it's their way of tracking and I guess building data around what the symptoms are like and what the effects are like for everybody. So yeah, so at the moment that's what I've been doing. You'll get that. I've been getting it at exactly 9 o'clock every day, and if you don't fill it out by 12:30, they send you a reminder text saying that, like, we haven't heard from you today, like, don't forget to fill in your
yeah, cool. That's good. Keeps everyone accountable, I guess.
Yeah. And for the checkup, they only came, they came around, what's today? Today's Sunday. I think they came around on Friday. And even that was like, that was out of the blue too, because we were like, I was still asleep, and Martha was calling out saying, oh, he's in that room over there, the one with the one with the window open. And they were standing outside. So I just happened to pop my head out, and there were two ladies there from DHS, and
they were talking to you from outside the window.
From outside.
Oh, true. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, they were like, oh, are you TJ Nanai? And I was like, yeah. And like, oh, did you recently test positive to
blah blah blah? Yep.
And so all of that stuff, and yeah, we haven't seen them since.
True. So you're currently day 7. How do you feel?
Man, I feel normal, man. Funny thing is that, so that Wednesday, my last day at work, yeah, so the Wednesday and Thursday I did the test. When I woke up that Thursday morning, I actually felt fine. Like, I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel anything. Like I felt like I was good to go. And I've felt like that since that Thursday. So
Yeah, true.
with other people, well, there was another guy that I work with who actually caught COVID as well. He was saying that for him, it was like a 3-day period where he was at his worst.
Yep.
So I think for me, my 3-day period was that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then by that Thursday, I'd sort of gone back to normal. But
Oh, but you hadn't. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
and
I get that.
I think the COVID was still lingering in my mouth somewhere. So that's why.
Watch out, man! It jumps out the windows too. So those ladies might have to get tested. True.
Yeah, bro. So it's yeah, it's a weird experience. Like I said, I've been for me, I never really took this whole thing seriously. Like even last year when we were at when it was at its peak, and then like getting vaxxed and stuff.
Mm.
You know, you get vaxxed and you think you're Superman, that you're never gonna catch it. And hello.
Yeah, and then like this might sound like a stupid question, but like knowing that you're jabbed and you still caught it, do you reckon it just helped with like managing the symptoms? Like I don't know how you would compare it, but like it sounds like it helped.
Yeah, well, I would, like I said, because I don't have anything to compare it to. I think you're probably right. I think it did help in terms of the symptoms, but again, you know, I will probably go out on a limb and say that it's probably different per person.
Yeah, of course.
You know, we read all the time about people who were vaxxed and their symptoms were far worse than what I had. So I really do think that it's just a case by case sort of thing, and each individual will sort of react to it differently.
Nice, right? And then I guess just the last one to round this off, like if you had to explain it to someone, like how would you feel like that? How would you explain the feeling, especially during that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you reckon?
I'd probably say it's just it's, well, for me, I felt like I was just fatigued. I was just dead tired. Couldn't explain why. You know, and my thing was, because the gyms had just opened up too, like in my head, I was thinking, you know, fuck, I should be feeling this tired after going all out at the gym for like,
yeah, true.
Because like from past experiences, when I sort of get back into going to the gym, that first week is probably my worst, because it's like your body's trying to readjust to getting back into the habit of doing all of that thing. So for me, I would probably compare my tiredness to that feeling of a week after not going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like my thing. Like I didn't have the chills or anything. Didn't really have the shortness of breath. So, or you know, apart from the typical hay fever symptoms, I don't really, yeah, my like my my little experience with COVID probably wasn't as extreme as what some other people's were, and probably not extreme as what people want to hear. So
Yeah. I guess for the average person, this is probably what normally happens. Like if you, I guess, catch it, whether you are, well, I'm just going to say whether you're vaccinated or not, but you just never know.
exactly.
Yeah. And like from the stories that I've heard, like you've experienced similar symptoms too. So it sounds like it's been I guess, an overall, maybe not positive, but like a good experience, you know?
Yeah.
Compared to others. I guess I don't know if you want to get into it too. Like, what is your I guess view on, like, you know, the current mandate and all that currently here in Melbourne? Controversy corner.
So the like, whether you're vaxxed or not, like it doesn't really bother me. Like, you know, that's your own personal choice. So I got vaxxed because I knew eventually. So I work in mental health, disability, and Martha works in aged care, and you know, it's sort of like it's all community based, right? So I had a feeling that eventually our jobs will be mandated to get vaccinated in order to work. So I took the first step in getting the jabs, because with when they first rolled out the jabs, there was like a lot of you know, a lot of controversy about the effect.
Yeah.
And my main concern was you know, it's because Martha has a heart condition.
Yep.
I would rather that if there were any side effects, that I experience it instead of her. So
Yeah,
that
100%.
why I decided to get vaxxed, because I knew that if there were any side effects, like I felt confident enough in myself to be able to handle it.
Hmm.
And if there were side effects, then that'll just be a reason, for Martha not to get it. Or, she can sort of decide off whatever experience that would be, whether she'd want to get it or not. So that was the main reason why I got it, was because one, I knew that eventually our jobs would be mandated to get it, and two, to sort of be a safeguard for my wife, because like last thing I want was for her to get it and she has like a severe reaction to it. So yeah, but like I said, man, whether you're vaxxed or not doesn't really phase me. It's each to their own. Do I think it's fair that everybody needs to get vaxxed? No, because it does sort of take away our freedom.
Yeah.
But one thing, and I'll probably cop a bit of hate for this. It's not actually so in Australia, freedom of speech isn't actually one of our rights. It's not
Mm,
any of our constitutions. Or actually
true.
not in any of your constitutions, because you're
Hey, I'm Australian, man.
so like freedom of speech and that's like it's a perceived right, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's not an actual thing compared to what the Americans have, where it's actually written in their
in
constitution.
the actual constitution.
Yeah.
True.
So
I've never actually looked at that too. That's pretty interesting. Write that down to look into. Now,
and
I
if
guess.
I'm wrong, don't come at me, but I am wrong, I blame Miss Knight from Westall, because she taught us that.
No, I guess what do you call it? The main thing that like at the moment is like people like most people are getting it because they've been a lot of things have been taken away from them, like their right to go see entertainment, and especially their right to work. So currently, that's the reason why I'm not getting jabbed. I just don't feel like I should have to put something into my body, like in order for me to make a living for myself. And it's not a shared view. Like a lot of people don't agree against it. I understand like the implications if you were to get it, and I was to go into a community full of people. So we still follow the guidelines and whatnot. But and then at the moment, like life is going to be very, very, very crazy, especially at the end of this month and whatnot. But I guess you have to be first of all, like you have to accept what's going to happen. So just have a little bit of accountability for your actions, and that's
Definitely.
and it kind of and we'll get into that a bit later when we get into talking about mental health and that. But okay, so you mentioned that you're a mental health worker, so I guess let's talk about that. So how did you get into that?
So I sort of stumbled into mental health by luck, to be honest. So my main background before getting into mental health was actually youth work. So I did a bit of work with an organization called Iron Armor Academy, which is based out in Altona. So I was lucky enough that they had a couple of programs that they were running here on the Southeast, and I sort of just messaged them on Facebook and was like, hey, I've got my papers in youth work. Is there any chance that I could sort of help out or get involved? And lucky enough, I think that same day I spoke to the so he was the president of Iron Armor, Chris Aho. And we just got to talking, and he sort of was saying like, oh, we've got a couple of programs that we run out in the Southeast, and they were in the final stages of securing contracts to work in the juvie system. So
Okay.
that's sort of how I got started. So I got started with that, and then
Can you just please break down like what Iron Armor is, just like quickly, so people know what you're talking about?
So Iron Armor is a sports academy. So they have so a lot of their programs are based around improving, I guess, improving your fitness, improving your skills, just improving your I guess your whole game as an athlete. And they also offer mentoring as well. So they have a lot of pathways connected to New South Wales and Queensland. And I think there's a couple of people we know who were a part of that program and have actually moved up to Queensland to pursue greater opportunities in rugby league and stuff. So I guess in a nutshell, that's what Iron Armor is. But the biggest takeaway for me from them though was just the mentoring part.
Yep.
You know, their main focus is, the winning the game of life, both on and off the field. So, like for me, I think that's a pretty awesome mantle to have, because as a young athlete, and you probably know this as well from your time when you were playing sports as well. Like it's the pressure of trying to perform on the field, and also the pressure of trying to be that that good role model at home can sometimes clash.
Yep.
So for them, it's all about building up, building up these young people, building up these athletes, but making sure that they're covering everything, and it's not just all about your on the field performance.
That's awesome, because like us growing up, we never had those sort of programs. So it's good that, I guess the previous generations have learned, like, this is something that's needed. And, Iron Armor is like stepped up to the plate. And I'm pretty sure there's like more programs out there like nowadays. So shout out to Iron Armor Academy. And thank you for everything that you do, especially for upcoming athletes. Just giving, I guess, the kids the mental strength to deal with, I guess I like what you said, life on and off the field. So then you went through that, and then so how did you move to your next steps?
So what happened? We went away to get married, and then we came back, and we came back and something happened. But anyways, I think it was time for a change. So and this is not knocking on Iron Armor or anything. I have a lot of respect for those guys, and especially for giving me the opportunity. But I think one thing that I found draining was just the just the youth work sector in itself. You sort of realize that you could be, I don't know, you could be like one of the worst kids ever, and you'd still have all the backing from the government, right?
Yeah, true.
And with all that backing, like it's still your choice to do what you want to do,
and they'll still choose to do
like the wrong things. And for me, like I actually felt defeated. I felt like I wasn't doing my job properly as a mentor and as a youth worker. But I guess at the same time, because I was still sort of new into that field, like I think I was taking a lot of things personally. I was taking a lot of negatives and using that as a reflection of myself instead of.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, like like instead of sort of accepting the fact that, and I learned this later on, like some people just can't be saved no matter what you do. They're sort of stuck in that mentality. And
well, give us a quick example. Like, you don't have to mention the person's name, but obviously they're probably a gifted athlete, and
So we actually had one kid, man. Awesome kid in the program, awesome kid. Like I think if he had just sort of put his head down and just stuck with what he was doing, he was going to make it. Like athletic wise, probably one of the most naturally gifted kids I'd ever seen. And he actually got out. So he got out for a while, and then like within, I'd say, a month, he was back in. And like we had everything set up for him on the outside to succeed. There was an opportunity for him to train and trial. There was an opportunity for him to get a job, get a house, all of that stuff. But he just couldn't break away from his circle of friends that he had, and that was his downfall. But like for me, I thought at the time, I thought like, fuck, this kid's gonna make it, and it's gonna be because of me. Like I helped him get there. Like, that was my thought process, because I was like, yeah, man, like I've worked with this guy, I've seen what he can do. Like if like any team were to call me or whatever, like I'd vouch for him and say like, yeah, bro, this kid's gonna make it.
Yep.
And when he ended up back inside, I was like, fuck. Was there something that I did wrong for you not to succeed, sort of thing?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So so like I said, it was a whole process of just sort of trying to understand that, like there's so much you can do, but at the end of the day, if the person that you're working with isn't in a place to accept any change or to accept that help, like there's no way you're gonna sort of break through to them. And that was probably one of the hardest ones I took, was that one kid. And I think because of that, that's probably why there was that massive push to move away from that sector and try something different. And so I ended up in mental health, and this was by pure luck, actually. So a couple of the ladies down at the Titans Club at the time. So a lot of people will know who Millie is.
Shout out to Millie.
Shout out to Millie. And there was another lady there who just so happens to be Millie's supervisor. So when we got back after getting married, like I was putting out some feelers just to see if anybody was looking for workers. And yeah, this lady got back to me. I actually forgot what her name was, which is pretty sad. But she sort of yeah, she set me up with the intake process and all that, and got accepted, got through to an interview, and that's how I ended up in mental health.
Cool. So I guess for those who don't know, like what is it like being a mental health worker? Like, or maybe like tell us a bit about what your job is, and then maybe later we'll get into like what a typical day looks like for you.
Yeah. So when I was working for this organization, I won't mention any names just in case we get sued.
That's cool.
So it was actually for me. So I'm gonna talk from my perspective as a brown male working in this industry.
Awesome.
I found it easy, bro. I found it real easy because I think for us as islanders, for us as Pacific Islanders, you know, connecting with people, that's our thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we connect through conversation, we connect through food, we connect through sports, like, you know, that sort of thing. Like that comes natural to us. So when it came to working one-on-one with our clients and all that, like for me, it was just a walk in the park because like I wasn't shy or I wasn't scared. And most of my clients I worked with, so they usually tell you to like read their file before you go out and meet them, because to give you an overview of what to expect and all that. But most of my clients, I didn't even bother reading the file. I read their files after I got back to the office because I felt like it would be more genuine meeting them without any preconceptions or.
Oh, that's cool, bro. So you're taking them generally for their face value,
yeah, exactly.
Instead of making up your own. Yeah, that's cool.
So working, like just building rapport with clients was really cool. And then just working with other people as well, like other ethnicities, I found that real easy. And yeah, bro, like I don't know, I feel like it was just a breeze, man. It was just real easy.
No worries. So I guess as a mental health worker, obviously you have clients. So what kind of clients do you work with at the moment?
So at the moment, so right now I'm working in disability, but when I was working in mental health, I was working with, you know, guys who, or males and females who suffered from, you know, things like schizophrenia, bipolar, split personalities, you know, trauma infected, drug affected, alcohol affected, like pretty much the worst of the worst is probably the best way to put it. Yeah, like there was even a couple of clients who I worked with who were, I guess, on the rapist list as in Australia as well. So but it's, I think it takes a special, not a special, but I think you sort of have to be built different to be able to work in that environment.
Yeah.
Like some of
Like, well, yeah, like what makes you say that? Like the first thing that comes to my mind is I feel like islanders in general, we understand like I guess the family dynamic where, you know, those who are younger respect them the older. So like for you, like especially being a big brown male, man, it probably helped you know, your clients, like no matter what they were going through, easily, like it was easy for them to, I guess, have a little bit of respect for you or whatever and follow what you say, just because, you know, it's the way we, like, you know, how we were brought up.
Oh, definitely. I found that most of the challenges I had weren't exactly with the male clients. It was more with the female clients.
Oh yeah, see, and that kind of makes sense because, you know, girls don't even listen to us now.
But it was yeah, it was a real eye opener for me because I mean, like you said, it's there's just something about us that makes it easy. Like I think we just have that natural ability to allow people to feel comfortable around us.
Yeah, cool. That's good point.
Like I was working with a male client who was considered, you know, one of the worst. You know, that I was given I was given a breakdown on what to expect when I went out and when I went out and met him. So I was told, like, don't look at him, or like, don't look at him in the eyes. If he makes a joke, make sure you laugh, because if you don't,
Oh, hey.
yeah, he'll take that as like, you're being a dick and all this other stuff. If he tells you to, like, when you're driving, if he tells you to turn wherever, make sure you turn. Otherwise,
Sounds like George. Oh, that would have been a breeze.
So yeah, like for me, that, like, hearing all of that stuff, I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, yep. And then I went out and met this guy, and it was like, oh, one of the best. He was probably one of the best clients I ever had.
True.
It was just like, I think it was just that because he had done some stuff, and I think a lot of people were still holding on to what he had done in the past.
Okay.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's missing, especially in mental health, is that a lot of people who work with clients, they still sort of refer to what they did in the past instead of looking at potentially what we could do to help them to benefit their future.
Yeah.
So that whole experience for me was like, man, and I said to him straight too, I was like, bro, before I came out here, like, everybody was giving me the G up about you, like, making sure that, don't do this, don't do that, and all.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, and what did you think? And I was like, bro, like, no, you're all good. Like, I've got nothing,
Yeah.
like, I've got nothing to be scared of. And yeah, I remember I got back to the office that day, and Monday morning, my supervisor came up to me and she was like, oh, I just got a text from the client, and he said, oh, he actually he likes you as a worker, and he really doesn't like a lot of people as a worker. So you must have done something right. So for me,
True.
it was like a massive win, because
Yeah.
not a lot of people have been able to, I guess, connect or to have that sort of relationship with him in terms of worker client relationship. So
Yeah, and I like what you said about, like, it's like they just want someone to listen to them. Like, a lot of people, like you said, will have their I forget what the word is, but like, they've already made up their mind on what the person could be like, and
Yep.
like you said, they still judge them on their previous, I guess, dealings or whatever you want to call it. So I guess let's get into the client. So, like, what's kind of like the worst experience you probably have had as a support worker?
Oh shucks, as a support worker. I think the worst experience I had was dealing with so I had a client who, so she has a lot of suicidal thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all behavioral. So when I say behavioral, like, it's her way of trying to get attention.
Yep.
Yeah. And anyways, one day we something happened that day. I think she wanted to go for a drive, and I said no, because like, we have protocols in place for when she does certain things. And anyways, she sort of did something that she shouldn't have. So I sort of put my foot down. I was like, nah, we're not going for a drive, because you did this, and because of that, you know what the consequences. And anyway, she decides that she wants to commit suicide and go and sit in the middle of the road.
What?
So that wasn't even the worst part. Like, for me, the worst part was having to deal with the general public that was around her. So, like, everybody was coming up to her, like, checking in, like, are you okay? What's going on? And she was sitting there. She was lapping it up, because
Yeah, she loved the attention.
that attention, yeah.
Wow.
And then having members of the public just be like, what are you doing? You should be doing your job. Why aren't you trying to move her off the road? Like, for me, that was a bit of a, are you serious? Like, this is my job. I'm doing my job.
Yeah. Is that your job to see how other people are doing their job?
Yeah. So for me, that was like the worst, because like, with that, the police got involved, the ambulance got involved, and then
Oh, she wouldn't budge.
Nah.
What?
So I had to, what was supposed to be a 4-hour shift ended up being something like a 12-hour shift that day.
That's crazy.
So by the time I got home, I was like, what the fuck just happened today? Like, every other day was fine, and then today she threw a massive curveball, and yeah, I was not prepared for that. So I think I came home that night, and the first thing I did was pop a beer, because I was like, man, I thought I could handle anything, but like I said, it wasn't so much the fact that, you know, she had these thoughts and was displaying these behaviors. It was more the fact that, like, I was copping abuse from the general public for not intervening or for not trying to do anything, when yet, you know, we have certain, I say we had certain protocols on how to deal with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Like you
also,
could have easily just picked her up and grabbed her and chucked her in the car, but
yeah,
obviously, yeah,
but that in itself, like, all it would have taken was, you know, just one person to say, "Oh, we saw him grab her," you know,
inappropriately. Yeah, true.
You know, like in the process of trying to get her off the road, I could get hit by a car, and you know, like there was
True.
a lot of things that I sort of had to consider before even deciding whether or not to try and get her off the road. And like prior to her getting, you know, prior to her making her stand in the middle of the road, there was a lot of talking, a lot of trying to de-escalate the matter. But by that point, she was too far gone to sort of talk some sense into. So yeah, follow the rules and just be like, yep, that's your choice. See you later. I'm going.
Oh, that's crazy. And then I guess, like, you know, from that experience, like, what did you take out of, especially that one experience about like being a support worker? Did you go home and just reflect and think, why am I doing this? Or man, that's actually pretty crazy what you went through.
I think it sort of just it hit a nerve with me, because it sort of made me realize that people are still ignorant to the fact that, you know, there are people out there who suffer from mental health, and
Mhm.
you know, it's different for everybody. And then like I think my biggest reflection after that incident was, you know, if me as a young Cook Islander is just learning all of this from being in the field, imagine how much other people don't know who, you know, have nothing to do with mental health.
Yeah, interesting.
That was one of the biggest things for me, and that was why I sort of stayed in that role, because I wanted to learn as much as I could around mental health and around trying to get the right services to help these people. Because again, like I said, if I'm learning all of this stuff because I'm in the field, like imagine how many people that we know of who might be suffering, or, you know, who might be fighting their own battles but don't know where to go, or don't know how to identify with somebody who is going through that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, like, do they even know what services to try and get access to be able to help them? So like, yeah, that was like, I think that night was when I sort of made my mind up then and there, like this is it, like this is it for me in terms of a career. Yeah, I just want to do mental health.
Man, that's crazy, bro. I guess that's probably one of the worst experiences that you had. Let's go through, you know, some of the highs that you go through too. So, like, give us, I guess, you know, what are the good things about being a support worker? What have you learned and all that too?
um I think one of the biggest learnings is, so I always used to pride myself on being a really patient guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
This tests you, doesn't it?
yeah, bro, like, it really does. And I think it's good. Like, it's a good thing to be able to reflect on yourself personally and be like, man, like, so this happened, and then this happened to me. Like, so next time that happens, maybe I shouldn't react like that, or maybe I shouldn't do
Mm.
things like I did, you know. So yeah, learning about myself was probably one of the biggest highs working. And then again, at the same time, just seeing you know, seeing the progress with the clients as well. One of the biggest success stories we had was, so one of the guys came out of a what do you call it? So it's like a so it's a short-term accommodation sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to get him from that into his own house. We were able to get him off state trustees. So state trustee are like, they're like a bank, but they sort of control how much money you can get per week through your payment, or through your plans, through your NDI
Mm-hmm.
plans. So yeah, so one of the clients we had, like, we were able to get him all of that stuff. You know, get him into a consistent routine where he wasn't using, he was really budgeting his money and all of that. So like, seeing that was actually quite rewarding, because like, I know that I was a part of that journey, or, you know,
It's cool.
I know that I helped in whatever way I did, but I helped them get to that stage. So that for me was probably one of the biggest highs as well.
Yeah, nice, bro. And you probably experience that a lot. I guess, do you know how that person is doing at the moment currently, whether they relapsed or still the
Uh,
same or?
yeah. So he's last I heard he was doing okay. Like since I left that organization, a lot of the clients that a lot of the newer clients that I've worked with aren't doing so well, but a lot of the older clients, the first lot of clients I worked with, are actually, yeah, kicking goals, man.
Man, so do they ever come out of, I guess, needing like support, or like, will they be able to live on their own eventually, or do they just always receive support for the rest of
So I
their
guess
lives?
different circumstances, bro. Like there are clients who, with the I guess with the right support around them, eventually they can move on to independent living. And
Cool.
then there are those clients who probably won't need, full on hands on type support, but will need some sort of support for the rest of their life. And then there are those who are probably best off in a medical type setting
Hmm.
of like, for their life. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I guess we talked about a bit of your experiences. So, just jog us through, I guess, a typical day for yourself. Like maybe with just like maybe your most recent client or something like that. Like, what does your day normally look like for a support worker?
So it's pretty much just to wake up in the morning, get myself ready, um, check to see what time I actually start. So with the organization I was working with, it was so it was a 9 o'clock. It used to be a 9 o'clock start at the office, but then there was a couple of changes that were made. So you sort of start whatever time you're meant to start with the client.
Yep.
So you start at, like, let's say you start at 10 till 12, then you're expected to be at the office at 10, pick up your work car, and then go and see your client. So that would be me.
So what do you have for breakfast? Or what's your coffee order? How does that go in the morning?
So coffee is usually large latte with the sugar, one sugar and skim milk.
Or skim milk? Oh yeah.
So that's usually yeah, so that'll be picked up at the cafe by the Woolies that was just in front of the building. So grab a coffee into work, have a smoke, catch up with whoever's outside having a smoke,
Mhm.
go inside, grab my key for whatever work I have booked for the day, and then text my clients, see if they're keen for support. If they are, then I'll let them know that I'm on my way out. I'll see them when I get there, and if they're not, then I'll just hang around the office and just let them know that if they need me, I'll sort of give them a breakdown of how long our support time is, and that they can contact me if they want to see me in between those times.
Oh, cool.
And then depending on how many clients I have rostered on for the day, so my morning component on my shift might be, like, let's say 9 to 12. That'll be with one client, and then from 1 to 4, that'll be with another client. So depending how that all works out, if I have 2 clients for the day, I'll go off and see my second client, back to the office to drop off the car, case notes, everything, and then go home. Or free afternoon is a free afternoon.
Oh,
So,
okay. So if they don't need support, you can just.
well, technically you're supposed to check into the office and do admin stuff, but yeah, I don't do admin.
Oh, okay. We'll cut that out so your boss doesn't know.
Access don't do admin, bro. We just do the footwork.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah.
We just do the groundwork. Sorry.
No, that's cool. I guess
Yeah.
that's what's the terminology for your position anyway? Because I keep calling it support worker, but what is it? What do you?
Well, if you want to get technical, I guess you could say mental health support worker, but
Oh yeah, true.
I think it's more the universal term for what we do. And then if you want to get technical and go into actually what type of support work, that's when you sort of got to break it down and explain
Mhm.
what it is that you do. But yeah, support work is fine, bro. Like, yeah, just put us all under the one umbrella.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so now we've talked about you being, I guess, a mental health support worker. And I guess, and you've also said that, you know, I guess you've felt a lot of fulfillment from your job. So, and you've recognized that as something that you want to do, like continuing forward. And obviously, I know you personally, so I know that you're a person who's always been trying to push, I guess, the importance of understanding mental health, especially amongst our Polynesian community, more specifically us Cook Islanders. Even deeper than that, like being a male too. So I guess let's get into, you know, I guess like a tough conversation around mental health. So I guess for you, what is mental health?
Man, for me, mental health is everything, bro. Like I think it all starts with your mentals. Um, and the reason I say that is because, you know, whatever you think, what you think, what you process, what your thoughts are, will eventually come through in your actions and the way you carry yourself. So if you're, you know, if you're thinking negative all the time, obviously, you know, that'll show in the way you do things, the way you carry yourself. But if you're, you know, always thinking positive, then you know, that too in itself will show. And I think we need to be paying more attention to our mental health instead of, you know, our physical being, because if you can't, you know, if your mentals aren't the greatest, then like I said, that'll show through the way you carry yourself and the way you do things. So yeah, mental health is really important, bro. And for me, it's really important. And it's taken me it's taken me about 27 years to sort of realize the importance of mental health. And again, it's like you said, it's a tough conversation that we don't have at all.
Yep. And like the best thing that you said right then, it's so important too. So I guess like what is so important about, like, especially the reason why you've made it like, I guess something like as a personal agenda of yours to, I guess, help in a way, like, you know, get the awareness out there. And yeah, so why is it so important for you to push the message around mental health awareness?
I think it's the biggest thing for me is that like in my I guess my upbringing, and so in school,
Let's get into it, mate. Let's get into it, mate.
like in school, we had no understanding whatsoever about that stuff. Like mental health, disability, you know, we knew nothing. When I was growing up, there was a kid who was a year older than me. He was a good friend of mine, and this was in primary school, bro. And you know, he committed suicide. But when you go to talk to, you know, the elders about that, it's one of those things that they sort of just brush aside and like they don't say anything.
Mucky mucky or something like that, with the
Well,
understanding.
the thing with this kid was he was just like you and me, bro. Like maybe there was things that were happening in his life that he didn't show in school, but you know, it was just there was just no understanding, or well, maybe not even understanding. I think there was no empathy around why you know, why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was more the fact that it's happened and we don't want to talk about it. So because they didn't want to talk about it, it was harder for us as young kids to fully understand or to fully grasp the depth of this whole idea around suicide.
Yeah.
And you know, like mental health is like a term that they've only just introduced in the last couple of years anyways. So, you know, there's still a lot of things that are happening and changing in the mental health space. So for a lot of people, like growing up in Rara at the time, like man, I honestly didn't know. Like there was so many stories about people committing suicide when I was living in Rara. But for me, it's just like during that period, all I thought was, oh yeah, they just hung themselves. Like, you know.
Yeah. I get that too. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
there's no you know, there's no explanation, or there's no, I guess there wasn't any um teachings for us to sort of sit back and reflect, like, okay, this guy's done this because maybe this was happening, or maybe this happened.
Yeah, it's always kept under wraps, and I
Yeah,
guess yeah, true.
like for myself personally, like I wouldn't say I was suicidal, but I was toying with the idea, and this was because of a bit of trauma that happened in my life around, and I'd say it was about 11, 12.
Let's talk about it if you don't mind.
Yeah, bro. No, that's all good. So it was around the time where my mom and dad decided to split. So for me, I didn't fully understand why, like why they were splitting.
Yeah.
So
Did you maybe think it was anything to do with yourself or like
yeah,
your
definitely,
siblings? Or?
bro. Like I
Crazy.
thought like I so for me when I was growing up, like I was never into sports. Like I guess you could say I was a bit of a geek. So I
Bit
was
of a
always,
nerd.
yeah, bro. I was always reading like my main focus, and I guess this is because of my mom was like to always do good in school.
Yep.
So sports and all that stuff for me was like, bro, like the kids would ask me to go play rugby, and I'd be scared, bro.
True.
like
As per usual, all of us are the same.
I remember my dad actually he took me down to Avachu Eels training one time, bro, and I cried on the sideline.
True.
I didn't want to train, bro, because I was scared. And like I think he being brought up in the time that he did, he didn't fully understand that either. So
Yeah.
like like your typical island dad, like, why are you crying for? Do you want me to give you a Heidi like this?
Mate, I know that feeling all too well, mate.
It wasn't the like, what's wrong? Like, what are you scared of? Like, why are you scared? It was just a straight away, like, why are you crying?
Mm-hmm.
So that for me, that sort of scarred me for a bit. So I didn't play any sports growing up. Well during that time. Wasn't until like my final year in Rara was when I started actually coming out a bit. But then by that point, like when I started showing an interest in rugby, my dad didn't really care as much. You know what I mean?
True.
So like when they were going through what they were going through, I sort of felt like, man, if I had only done those things sooner, would he still be like,
Interested.
yeah,
True.
or would
I
he
can
still
relate to you in a way. Mine was the opposite. Like when I started to get good at like playing, like especially with our team at school and whatnot. Like I chose not to go play like local footy or stuff because I didn't want to like. Obviously, my dad didn't support me when I was younger because I was obviously not as naturally gifted as him. Like, but I guess as soon as I started like to excel and be like a little bit more competitive and whatnot, like that's when I decided to hide it and not. I didn't want him to get the benefits of it since he didn't support me until like that. So, yeah, it's an island dad, like
yeah,
island
yeah.
dad son thing. Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so like I said, so that sort of played heavy on me for a while, and like I just happened to what was it? I was writing a I was writing up this poem one time, and like the whole gist of the poem was like at the end it says something along the lines of you see me, you find me hanging from the end of the rope. It was
What?
so it was a poem that it went around the school for a bit, like how you like those popular. It was like a popular saying sort of thing, but like we didn't fully understand what it meant. So like I was just typing it up on the computer, and like my mom was standing behind me, and I got to the word hanging, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And she was like, "Oh, what were you going to write next after the word hanging?" And I was like, "Oh, I was going to write rope." But my thought was, "Oh, I'm just typing this up. Like, it doesn't. I don't know what I'm like."
Yeah,
I'm,
she understands the value of
yeah,
words, and yeah,
she saw it, but I didn't at the time. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, like what do you mean?" And she sort of broke down crying, and I was like, "Are you crying because I wrote
are
like
you sweet, bro?
yeah, like and she so that and it just so happened at that time like I was playing soccer for Overture, I was starting to play rugby and stuff. So she got some of the coaches around me just to sort of have a word in that, and like I remember one of them asking me what I thought about like what my thoughts were around suicide, and I just said, "Oh, it's just when people tie a rope around their neck and jump off a tree."
Mm.
Like that was my thing, and they were like, it was actually was my soccer coach who sort of broke it down for me, and he was like, "You realize that you know um that for some people that's their last like their sort of last resort." And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And it's like, for some people, like that's their way of trying to get away from whatever it is they're experiencing and all that. And
It's crazy, eh?
yeah, so he sort of went into detail about what was happening with my parents and stuff. And he was like, do you feel like that? And I was like, nah, like I had no intentions of taking my own life, but the fact that I was writing the so-called poem and the words hanging in a rope were supposed to be at the end, like that sort of got a lot of people nervous. So that was, I guess, my little dabble into suicidal ideologies, I guess. But
Yeah.
I never, like I said, I never followed through with it, never had any intentions of going through with it. But again, it all comes back to that lack of understanding and that lack of, I guess, teaching around that sort of stuff. So yeah, like now that I look back on it, I was like, bro, what a dickhead. Like writing that sort of stuff. So yeah.
But I think you like exactly how you explained it would be like, a lot of people can relate because like you, like a lot of people, like it wasn't made, like we had no awareness around what it is. Obviously, like respectfully for the families, there's reasons why, and like they would know or not know, but like we just never had any like explanations on what it actually meant. Like I like the way that coach or whoever like kind of like sat down and explained it to you, and that was kind of your first exposure to. Was that like your first kind of like actual exposure to like like those sorts of feelings? Or
yeah, I would, yeah, because there before that there was just, I guess, just that pressure of trying to please your parents. But that was probably my first experience, and even just like having that type of conversation around something that was so taboo, even to this day. Like that was my first experience around that. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and still hits. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let's so obviously that's what you experienced. Like that's your first kind of experiences around, I guess mental health. So, like, what are the signs you would say? Like, what are the main signs, that you could say, especially from you working with, your clients and whatnot, and working in the mental health space. What are the signs that you see that you could just quickly know that maybe somebody might be experiencing, a bit of a bit of issues with their mental health?
So I guess the biggest giveaway is just their what do you call it? So their routine and stuff. So like, have they stopped eating? Like if somebody who was usually quite a really healthy, or I wouldn't say healthy, but would constantly eat,
Yeah,
like not eat in the sense of like overeating, but like
just
somebody,
have their normal meals, breakfast. Yeah,
whether they whether they stop eating, stop sleeping, stop that maintenance, that personal care is another big giveaway. And just if they're real distant as well, like if people are real distant around you, that's another sign that they could potentially be going through something. I think the biggest thing is that when you do come across somebody like that, it's more a matter of if you're going to have conversations with them, like just be mindful to actually listen to understand instead of listening to respond. So
yeah,
that with a lot of us, like you'll say something and straight away our first thought is, oh yeah, I got to reply. And we just need to be more mindful about how we approach, especially if if you come across somebody who might be showing those signs. Just be mindful about how you sort of approach them, how you say it. Like don't come straight off the bat and be like, bro, are you okay? Like, are your mentals okay?
yeah.
Like you got to be, I guess, mindful to how you sort of break it down and just peel it back layer by layer instead of jumping straight into it.
So I guess we're talking about the signs. What did I want to talk about on this? I guess maybe I can I want to kind of use you as like a maybe you can like, be the person to listen to me about like, stuff that I've been experiencing, especially like lately over the last 2 months. Like you did reach out early in the week. But yeah, I kind of wanted to use this time, like, kind of like for myself too, just to explain like, what I went through, and I guess get your points around it. So early in the week, I posted a story about me going to the doctors to, I guess, get a mental health check.
Yep.
The reason why I did it was to give you context. Last year, I went through, I guess, a similar thing. I had like a lot of external pressures, like at home, but like I had even more pressures going on at work. Everyone experienced a lot going like during the COVID period, and like I couldn't deal with my work stresses, and I reached my like I think a really important thing is like people should know when their boiling point is, or the point in where their cup is just overflowing. I've reached that point, and I didn't like the feeling that I had. I spoke about some of the things that I did to help get me through. So fast forward all the way to I guess over the last couple months, probably like start of October. I guess the same sorts of feelings have been creeping back, where work's becoming like, especially like working from home.
Yep.
I've been enduring a lot of like anxiousness and stress from work, and that's like kind of eating into my personal life, and and the kids, and making it worse again. When they were announcing the rules around, the mandate about getting the jab and whatnot, those pressures come into, especially because as a family we're choosing not to get I guess the realities of not getting the jab kicked in, and all of those pressures. So just the thoughts of like me not being able to provide for my family, I guess will be isolated from doing like say for our local communities, like for you, for the sports, like for me, for sports and every other thing that we're involved in. Like there's probably we wouldn't be included in all these things. And on top of that, like work is just stressing me out. And like to begin with, they said that they would work with everyone on their individual cases to make sure that we kept employed, or they were going to understand our position and whatnot. And when that time came, they've backflipped and said, no, we're not helping. We're pretty much not helping anyone. You need to get the job if you want to work. So then I felt like I was being isolated from work too. It's like they've just hung me out to dry after 7 years of working there. And then all of these like pressures come like and hit me on the last week Friday. And I carried it throughout the weekend, and then I had like, personal issues going on between like, Mon and I, because of everything that's going on. That Monday when I was working here, like I almost hit that point where I was feeling like very overwhelmed. I was anxious. I was exhausted, but I carried all my feelings of stress and anxiety throughout the whole weekend, carried a bit of it, a part of it, throughout the last months, and everything like coming closer towards the end of this month is when I'll be like terminated, I guess, from employment. The closer I'm getting, the more anxious I'm getting too. And originally when people were asking me about it, like I would say, oh, don't worry, man, I'll be sweet, bro. You know what we normally do. But like, I've already, which I had been, I prepared. And I guess, me and Mon, we prepared, our last 10 years of life together, like 10 years next year. We've always known where we were going to be. We've always had a goal. And I guess this was the first kind of time where we've hit all of our 10-year goals and everything else. But this is the kind of first time where we've had a little bit of uncertainty. We didn't know what would become, because no stable employment, not able to do blah, blah, blah. Can't even fly to see our rent and that. So just a bit crazy at the moment. And I guess on Monday, I had the same, or I was building up towards the same feelings that I had last year when I actually broke down. So I said to my boss, I said, hey, I can't work, and like, I need to go and get myself checked. And I guess this was like kind of like the first big step I've ever taken, like in like, I guess, caring about my mentals. For a long time, my health hadn't been something that I focused on. It was only about, I guess, my family. So like, you know, making money to make sure that I can provide for my family. And then now that I finally have taken the time to, you know, check on my health, I thought it'll be a good thing. And the worst thing is I had the worst experience with the doctor. So it didn't, like, you know, it was the worst. So I'll openly talk about it because I know there'll be a lot of people out there, and a lot of people have reached out too. So pretty much that Monday, I messaged my boss and I said, bro, and obviously, like, he hasn't been the most supportive throughout this whole thing. Like, I've had, like, I can count on one hand, you know, the amount of people who've reached out, like, for work, that have reached out, like, just to check up on me, and my boss wasn't one of them. He's just the same, like, and I guess, yeah, it is what it is. But I messaged him and I said, bro, I'm going through too much at home. And it's affecting the way I'm doing my work. I need to make time to check on my mental. So from now, I'm not going to be working. I'll go get a doctor's cert and whatever, but I just can't handle. And I said, I know what I went through last year, and I'm feeling the same way or almost the same way, and I want to go get myself checked. Yep. He said, no worries, just make sure you reach out and blah, blah, blah. So I went to the doctors, and the first thing I did was sat down and we're just having a little bit of chit chat, and something to do with the forms. And then so the first thing she said was like, so why are you here? And I said, I'm here to just, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here to, like, check on my mentals. Like, I'm not sure. I said, to give you context, I kind of went through something similar last year, and I knew what it felt like when I broke down. And I wanted to, I guess, come in and get myself checked because I've felt almost the same way, the last couple of days, especially yesterday. And she said to explain what's going on. I explained pretty much the same thing I've explained to you now, like all the external pressures happening at home and how it's affected, like me, like mentally, also to do with work. And then I started to get into, I guess the reasons why I wasn't getting the jab and how it's affected me at work. Yeah. And she just said, so hold on. What's the first thing? So she said, so can I ask why you're choosing not to get the jab? And then I just said, well, personally, I don't think that I should have to put something into my body in order for me to earn a living. I've been able to earn a living freely normally, and now everyone's supposed to get this thing just to, I guess, fit in part of society. Like, I understand the health around it, but like, this is just how my view. And she said, you anti-vaxxers, I will never understand you. I will never agree with you. So those are her words straight out of her mouth. And I'm like, sorry, like, I feel like you're attacking me. First of all, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Like, all my vaccines are up to date except for this. So she's like, so what's the difference between you and an anti-vaxxer then? Because to me, you people are all the same. So she said, bro, this is like, I'm trying to open up about being vulnerable. Like, yeah. Like, and already, like, I couldn't really like breathe. I couldn't really talk properly. I was like getting a little bit teary because this was like me opening up. Like, I've always said to myself, like, in order to get, like, I guess, the best treatment around this, bro, you need to be open. You need to make sure, like, if they're going to diagnose you with anything, like, we're learning that with legacy too. And like, that's part of the pressures that I've been experiencing too. Like, if we lie and say like legacy doesn't do this or does this, like, they can misdiagnose him and we will never get to the bottom of, like, kind of how he is at the moment. So so the same thing with me. I was, she was like treating me like an anti, and I'm like, bro, I'm not an anti. So what's the difference between you and an anti-vaxxer? And like I was just too built up with emotion after explain. Like, I just feel like you're attacking me, and I just don't have this feeling. And I just said, well, I'm not anti-vaccine. I just want to explain to you again that I just don't feel like I should have to get this in order to make a living for myself. Then so she just started to lecture me about like the benefits of getting the jab and whatnot. And I just had to stop and I said, I understand the health, benefits and the implications around not getting it around it. But this is what I believe in at the moment. And because of that, it's affecting me in, like, for employment firstly, but, you know, making a living for myself. And then that's affecting my mental health. So then she said, you know, like firstly, you know that if your work contests this, that, you know, I will be questioned on why you are seeking, like, why are you here? That's what she said.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, like I try to explain, like, you know, I kind of know, you know, first of all, I think that, you know, when was the last time that you spoke to a man coming out and being vulnerable about how they're feeling, especially about mentally? I don't think have you experienced? She said, no. Then I said, like, I know how it feels like to be overwhelmed, to be exhausted. I broke down last year and I almost had the similar feeling. So I wanted to come and get myself checked to make sure that, you know, I'm in the right mental state. And she said, you know, if your work was to contest this, I need to have valid reasons on why you are seeking to get I guess this leave, this stress leave. So then I just started talking about my work stresses, like what was happening at work. And then she said, I think that's to do with you and work. It's got nothing to do with your mental health. And I'm like, I just don't think you, and I just said, sorry, I just think respectfully, I know you're a GP, but I just don't think you understand like what mental health is. And then she just got like a little bit like barred up. And then I just said, yeah, I don't feel like you understand, because like I'm here like explaining to you how I'm feeling and how it's made me feel. And it's like you just don't care.
Yeah.
And then I guess from that, I was just like, maybe what I'm going through isn't enough to consider being like at a place of, I guess, mental anguish, or I don't know what you call it. Maybe what I was explaining to her wasn't a big enough deal, especially in her eyes, the way she was talking to me about it. And then after we got away from, like she started asking me questions about like what's happening around, you know, everywhere else. Like, you do know what's happening in New South Wales and how they've been able to break the cases and or whatnot. And I just said, no, but you just need to explain to me. And then she was just going on and on and on about the vaccine and whatnot. She's just, I would never understand why you people choose not to get it. And then she said, so what are the other reasons why you're choosing not to get the jab? And I said, you know, I've heard that, you know, if you were trying to have another baby, for instance, whether my missus was to get it or I was to get it, it could heighten the risk of, you know, us possibly having an adverse reaction or something like that. And then she said, where does it say this? And I said, oh, like, I can't specifically tell you now, but like, if it's probably on the Pfizer vaccine, like it's been spread around. She said, no, that's fake. Like, we just, she like kept on saying, like, you people, you just make up your own stats and all this stuff. And that's how, like, yeah, it's so funny. Like, but like, I could have easily just stood up and just punched her straight in the face and walked out. But like in my head, like, again, if I want to get the proper diagnosis, like, I need to be like, I have to understand that, you know, not everyone thinks the same way and whatnot. And now, like, even talking about it now, like, I can't remember the reason why she laughed at me, but she also laughed at me at something that I said. And the reason why I don't remember now, because I was open to Mon about like what happened, like, finally, and I got it off my chest. So I haven't really spoken about it, but yeah, that's kind of what I went through. And then like right at the end, like she was like kind of like arguing back and forth with me, and I wasn't like, I just didn't know what to do. Like, I just said, you know, I know how I'm feeling, and I just think that you're not the right person to talk to because you don't understand how I'm feeling. And you're more worried. It sounds like you're more worried about yourself than actually me. So, and then like I was like breaking down like a little bit, talking about, you know, it's so hard for men like to come out and talk about our feelings and whatnot, because like, you know, we get laughed at, like, especially when I was talking. That's why she was laughing, because it was when I was talking about like what I was going through. It's like maybe things that she might have thought like, you know, men should be talking about or whatnot. But yeah, that was kind of my experience. And then towards the end, she just said everything that I know. Like, she just said, well, I don't really know you, and you know, I need to like judge you off like this is my first time meeting you. So how can you justify the amount of leave that you want to take um, if you were first to meet someone? And I just said you're the doctor and you can decide, but I know that I don't feel right. And then she just gave me my certificate, and in that point, like I was bawling out, crying like in front of her, and then she just asked me to leave, so I left. I went into the car, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just go through there? That was like in my head, I'm thinking like, first I thought like, is what I'm going through not a big enough deal to go to a doctor about? Because she laughed at me. She was like making comments like just not taking me serious enough. Or am I just going to, like, you wouldn't go to the mechanic to how to fix like, you know, something in your house, like or a light bulb, you know? Am I seeking the wrong sort of help? And she also did apologize to me right at the end. She did say that her job wasn't to judge.
Yep.
Her job was to help and support and to make sure that she understood like my situation so she could give me the best, I guess, sort of help. And that's another reason why I kind of like dropped everything too, because like, you know, normal reaction from us would be like not complain, but like we'll retaliate. But you know, I've learned over my work life too that, you know, retaliation gets you nowhere. It's better to work out things and stuff. So she like once she apologized, then I just, like, as much as I was upset, like I just left it. And then, I guess after that, I sat in the car park for like 5 minutes just to like finish all the emotions that I was going through. And like, as a man, like I understand, like, you know, there's certain times and places where you can cry and let your emotions out. And over the last 2 years, I've had a spot where I drive to, and that's where, like, you know, I go through everything in my head to make sure that like I'm clear. And like I've never had like a person to openly be open about with it too. And like Mon has her own shit to worry about. Me dumping more shit on her I was just thinking, fuck, you're my partner, bro. Like this is me and you forever. Like you should you should be fucking helping me. And she's like, bro, she deals with her own shit by herself. So automatically she thought you should go deal with it yourself too. But then in my head, I'm thinking, fuck, when are you going to ask me if I'm okay? Because fucking people are messaging me, and like the person who I sleep with next to, bro, she hasn't even asked me how I'm going. And that like, we end up having a massive conversation on Friday night about it. And, you know, we both open up, and that's what we normally do. We open up about how we feel and make sure that, you know, that we check in on each other and make sure that we're right. But like, it was a whole roller coaster ride. And I guess, and they bring like, I always feel better on the other side, especially after Friday talking about it with Mon. I feel way better. I guess, so what do you think, bro?
So for me, like I feel like that's a lot of stuff. You have a lot of stuff going on with you at the moment. And I guess like I'm not a psychologist, right? So I'm not going to try and you know, give you like a treatment plan or anything like that.
But like I guess as a mental health worker, like how would you approach this sort of situation?
I guess firstly, like thank you for sharing that with me, because like you said, the ideology around a man opening up about his feelings is pretty much unheard of. Like you don't do that sort of shit as a man. So you know, for you to open up and tell me all of that stuff, bro, like thank you for allowing me to hear that. First, like there's a couple of things I would say, bro, is that like, you know, if you feel like work is getting too much, there is a service that you can call. I don't know if it's available for your job.
We have an EAP, Employee Assistance Program. Yes,
that's the one. I would probably, like, as a worker, I would probably suggest, you know, giving them a call, because they would be able to help with that work
related.
But I guess as a brother-in-law and as a mate, what I would probably say is, you know, to change your environment. And what I mean by change your environment is like to get away from that job. Because one thing I've learned with a lot of our clients is that, you know, if you're constantly stuck in the same environment, then, you know, there's a there's a high risk of you sort of going through the same behavioral patterns and doing the same thing. So
Of course.
one of the things that we do with our clients is we try to change their environment, because once you change their environment, they are then forced to think differently.
Yeah.
They are then forced to, sort of having to relearn or having to adapt to that. So for you, bro, like I would say, if you can, or when you're in a position to, like, bro, just quit your job, man. I know it's probably, you're probably thinking, bro, what a dick, why are you telling me to quit my job after I said, I'm going through all of this stuff. But I think one thing that we need to understand as well is that, you yourself is priority. Like if you were to die tomorrow, they'll just promote the next person into your job.
Yep.
I think for a lot of people, that's one thing that that we seem to miss, is that we always seem to prioritize our jobs over ourselves.
Mhm.
That's one thing that I've had to learn as well. Although I'm pretty open with Martha about why I work the way I work. So I will, like, where there are extra shifts, I will pick them up. But
Mm.
I don't do that because I'm chasing the money. I'm doing that because I'm trying to put myself in a position to be able to progress in my job.
Yep.
And that's one thing that she is still trying to understand, but she doesn't quite get it. So what I'm saying is, like, if your job is causing you this much stress, like, I think it's time, bro. Like, I think you should take that as a sign for you've done what you can, and now it's time for you to move on. Because if you stay in that same environment, I feel like it's just going to be at the same circle of you going through this and then having a break and feeling okay for a little bit, and then coming back full circle to that same thing. It's actually, I feel like it's not going to solve the problem. It'll probably just put a band-aid over it without actually allowing you to heal.
Yep.
Second thing is, bro, like, that GP, you need to find another GP, bro, because
Yeah. No.
look, to be fair, I don't know, like, I don't know I don't know your GP. I don't know her personally. I don't know whether she was having a bad day or not, but like, from what I've learned, the GP sort of work on they work on a time limit system. So apparently they only get like 10 to 15 minutes to diagnose a patient, give them their thoughts, their medication or whatever, and then send them on their way.
Mhm.
So for something like, especially when it comes to mental health, you're gonna need way more than 15 minutes, bro. So, like, in that sense, I would probably suggest, if you can, finding a new GP and possibly looking at whether you can get like some sort of psychology, like counseling sessions.
Mhm.
And it's not to say that there's anything wrong. Like, it's just like you said, you just need somebody to talk to who can understand and who will be able to help you the way that you need to be helped.
Yep.
Because it's going to be different for everybody. And the third thing is, like, your GP saying what she said, it sort of reiterates the fact that, like, for us as males, it's because of people like that that makes it hard for us to come out and express our feelings, like
Yeah, it was honestly the way I felt. Like first, I felt like I was being judged, but
yeah,
secondly, I just thought like she thought like the way she was responding, her body language, everything made me feel like that what I was saying was inadequate. I shouldn't be feeling the way I should be feeling, which obviously I understand that that's not right, but like I just wanted to make
it,
sure that I was being professional as my, like myself. I could have easily been erratic, and then something else could just happen that I'd regret. But
but the thing, like, the point I'm trying to make is it shouldn't even have got to that point, though. Like,
yeah,
look at it from the other side. Like, if you were a female going into there with those same issues,
yeah, would it be
probably
different?
yeah, she probably would have written you up a script for Xannies and Valium and all that other stuff.
Mm,
But because, again, you're a male, and there's that ideology about, men supposed to be strong and supposed to be able to handle the world. Like, um when you said that, there's a place for us to share our emotions and cry. Like, who said? Like, what's stopping us from crying right now?
yeah, exactly. Like,
Why
yeah,
why
no,
do we
you're right.
why do we put that why do we put that stress on ourselves to be only vulnerable when nobody else is looking?
Yeah.
Why do we have to hide in our car in a park somewhere and let out all our frustrations? Like, why do we have to do that?
Yeah.
What's the difference between us and a female breaking down in public crying? Like,
Yeah.
we're at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all go through similar things, but just different experiences. And again, like, this is why mental health to me is so important, because like, there's still that massive lack of understanding around it. And this is coming from a GP. Like, you spoke to a GP.
Yeah. This is a health professional. Yeah, bro.
Exactly, bro. So that sort of makes it worse. Like, um yeah, I would definitely be trying to find a different GP, bro. Because, like, me, that just sort of shows ignorance on her behalf.
Mhm.
And then, like, it sort of blurs the line between double standards too. Like, I mean, yeah, I can't I fuck, even I'm getting a bit emotional now.
Yeah, and like I don't want it to sound biased, but like
Yeah,
I literally explained to whoever messaged me, I explained the same exact kind of like brief story message, and that's exactly what happened. You can't make this up, and like I just felt like, man, felt very vulnerable. I wanted to go and get help, and this is how I was treated. I'm like, fuck. No
yeah,
wonder why we don't speak about the shit that we go through, because
exactly. Because
from
of
this only one experience, this is how I was treated, bro. It's fucked.
and it is hard, bro. And, like, it's sort of, you sort now that you've experienced that, now you can sort of understand why, the highest suicide rates are male, why the highest crime rates are male, why the highest homeless rates are male, why the highest, people locked up in prison are male. It's because there's a lot to do with, the male, I guess, the male psyche and the mental health around men, that people still don't understand, or still choose not to understand, because of how society views what a man's supposed to be. But just coming back to you, like, I think it sucks that that you've had to experience that. But, that being said, she's not the only GP. One, like, don't sort of put this one bad experience and say, there isn't help out there, because there is, bro. Like,
Mhm.
you can get decent help out there, but it just comes down to, I guess it comes down to what type of help you think you need. Because, like, from what I can see, like, I don't see any signs of you, like, being suicidal or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just a bit of like a bump in the road.
Yeah, I do think that that just knowing that the type of person you are, I do feel like this is something that you will overcome. But again, I do feel like there is a need for some sort of professional help.
Yep.
And that's through, I would say the best for it would be some type of counseling. And again, even just maybe trying that EAP line as well. Like, for the work side of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then just circling back to what I said earlier, like, if you're in a position to, or if you think you can, I would leave my job. And as hard as it sounds, it's, at the end of the day, and everybody's situation is different, but money's money.
Mhm.
Money will come and go. But as long as, I guess you and Mon sort of understand and are in the same boat, and she's willing to ride or die,
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
then you guys will figure out what works best for you. When I left the mental health job to move into the disability job, like, it had nothing to do with money. Like, I left the now that I look back on it, I left a pretty cruisy job and really good pay to work in to where I am now, where it's physically demanding, because I'm working with a severely autistic boy who is nonverbal
mhm.
and has no sense of safety or anything like that. And it's draining, because like, now I actually have to think a lot more than what I was doing before. But like, for me, I knew at my old job that it was time for me to go. And like you, I was stuck in a position where do I leave and then, you know, have to start from scratch again? Or, you know, like there was a whole lot of things that I had to think about before I left. But in the end, I was like, I got to look after me. You know, I got to put, it sounds selfish, but I have to put myself first in order to be able to look after those that I love. And I think as a man, that's one thing that we don't do enough of, is we don't put ourselves first. And like I said, it sounds selfish, but when you look at the bigger picture, like, you know, we all, I guess we're all built to provide and to care and to love, but we can't do any of that stuff if we can't, you know, provide, care, and love ourselves. So
100%.
how do you, you know, like, yeah, it's like I'm actually trying not to cry here, because it's, yeah, fuck, it's shit, bro. Like it's actually really shit to hear what you went through. And I guess now you sort of see why I'm really passionate about mental health, and especially mental health for our people.
Yeah, no, like even like so like I've been pretty much crying about it all week. So like now that's why I'm explaining it now. I'm like way more, I guess, what's the word, like content, like I'm all right. Like I do have those feelings inside, but like, you know, it's just I've already broke down about it so many times that it's I'm a bit more content, like how I'm feeling. Like I've definitely worked out and understand, you know, I understand that most of everything that I'm going through is because of I guess the choices that I've been making. So I guess to your first point about work, again, the pressures of me leaving work is like I've worked so hard to get to where I am. Like you said, you were in a cushy position. You get like, you know, you're able to build a lifestyle for yourself. And but you knew that, you know, it's something just wasn't right. And I've had this feeling for a while, but again, my values was never around my health. So obviously, you know, from all the stress that I've been experiencing, especially in my current job, you know, like I've gained weight, bro, like I'm not physically active anymore. And, you know, I used to burn out all the time, working 10, 12, 14 hours a day sometimes, you know, always just because of, I knew that like I could put myself in a better position, you know, in order to provide for my family. And I knew that how it was affecting my health, but obviously that wasn't a point of focus on my life. So for work, I have decided that I won't go back. So if they're listening, whoever, like, you know, my boss, and that they follow me and whatnot, I have decided that I have to work on my health. And I'm lucky that, you know, me and Mon have put ourselves in a position where I'm able to do this, where, you know, obviously there's going to be a little bit of financial adjustments that we have to make. But like, I guess, like you said, I can't like help from an empty cup. Like, you know, I need to make sure that, you know, I'm taking care of myself before. And like, you know, someone like us, like we always say, bro, if like, you know, for our podcast every week, we started off by checking on with each other, saying like, hey, if anyone needs help out there, make sure you give us a message or let us know. And, you know, I don't know if you ever receive messages, but I've received messages too. And, you know, you just keep in contact with everyone, making sure they're all right. But like when it comes to yourself, bro, there's no one checking up on me. Like we would check up on each other, but like, you know, that's kind of like about it. So like, yeah, it's like, it's been something that I've always had to do, but I never had the time to, because I put all my time into work. So like me coming to that, and I understand the implications from that, you know, and I understand everything, but like what people say about working in a toxic environment is actually true. Unless you've ever worked in one, you would never understand what people who work in a toxic environment, like my department right now, highest performing, but it's the most toxic. To be able to do that. So, and I've understand that for a while. It's kind of the reason why a lot of my bosses before me and all my leads have left, and I'm like kind of like the last one. So yes, I have decided that I need to leave, and that's only going to be good for my mentals, and also like, you know, those who I guess I choose to help, and also like, you know, enable to help my family and whatnot. So yeah, I do agree with, I guess, what you said around that, and I do agree that, you know, shit won't change unless you you make the change. So I know the implications and the burdens it will leave on, like, my family and whatnot, but we've been able to put things in place to make sure that we are okay. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing you talked about was changing GP. So I did think about it because a lot of people was like, did you report her and whatnot? And like, I didn't want to make it seem biased, but that's exactly what I went through. I just felt like to give her the benefit of the doubt, like I'm still going to go see her tomorrow, so that like it's even, because I could easily jump around shit. But like what I said to Mon is that's not going to help me deal with my mental problems, me changing like GPs or whatnot. Like that's how I have it in my head. Like she already understands why I took the stress leave to begin with. And so hopefully, like now I feel way better place that I might have to work for the next 2 weeks, but it is what it is. But I just know definitely last week I couldn't.
Yep.
So like, yeah, we'll see how we go tomorrow. And like the things, huh?
No, I was just going to say, like, I think one thing that we sort of need to practice too is, and this was one thing that I'm guilty of not doing until sort of recently is, allowing yourself to take a break.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, we sort of work hard all year, and then we look at like end of the year to take our breaks and stuff. That's our, I guess, our recruit time. But one thing that we should be doing more of is actually, when you sort of realize that, like, you're starting to burn out or whatever, is actually taking time to look after yourself and taking time off.
Definitely.
That's one thing that I started doing when I was working, when I was first got into mental health, because I think I was carrying that, that warehouse sort of mentality where you're like, if you're sick, you just go to work, do your job, sweat it out, that sort of thing. And then
you don't want to take a day off because like you just don't want to let anyone down.
Exactly. So for now, like for me, it's like, even just the slightest hints of like, I think I'm feeling a bit burnt out, I'll put leave in straight away. And I found that it's actually helped me quite a lot. It's helped me to keep going because, working in the community sector, like the turnover rate in this sector is quite high. And I'm just talking for myself and my experience. You sort of got to be able to look after yourself. Self-care, sorry, I should have started off with that. Self-care is really important for her. And I think when you get the time to try and put some things in place for you that's specifically for your care, self-care stuff for you, whether it's I don't know, if like every fortnight you'll take an extended weekend off, or every fortnight you'll, I don't know, if I can run it straight at someone, like just something to sort of that, like something that you can identify with, and that's your way of sort of resetting yourself to be able to keep going. So for me, just real quickly, like I will try and get like an extended weekend. So I might do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday every 1 or 2 months, just to allow me time to actually, sort of enjoy being at home, enjoy the weekend. One of the other things is for me, that's worked really well in the past is the gym. But, the last 2 years, gyms have been locked down because of COVID and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually glad that the gyms have opened back up so I can start doing that again. And the other thing too is, and it's not so much like the alcohol, but like having a beer with mates. I find that, especially now that I'm 30, I'm gonna be 31 in a couple of days, but I found that like I enjoy the company more than I enjoy having the beer or having a drink. If that
of course.
Like,
I'm the same, bro.
Yeah, so just little things like that can sort of help you, and to whoever's listening, like just having little things where it's specific to you that you can sort of refer to if you're feeling like, if you're feeling a bit burnt out, or you're feeling like, fuck man, things are getting a bit too heavy, just to have some sort of activities in place for you to be able to sort of identify with them, and just be able to be like, fuck, you know what, this is where I can actually take time for myself and sort of reset. So yeah, sorry, bro. I just thought I'd quickly jump in there with that one.
No, you're right though. But like the reset is so important too. Like we're so used to like flying a Rara like at least once a year.
Yeah.
And you know, we haven't been able to do that over the last 2 years. So is that the reason why like I burnt out? Because like obviously there's a lot of other things, but we just never had that release, you know, that time off where I guess over the last 2 years, especially maybe even 3 years, that's the most time I've ever taken off, like personally, just to deal with my shit. Because, you know, normally, like you said, we'd have 2 weeks or 3 weeks where we go for a holiday or would go do something, you know, for just to break off the year, just to get you out of the day-to-day rubbish that everyone goes through, you know. And it was definitely beneficial, and we just haven't been able to do that. And yeah, you know, one thing also, like me and Mon talking about it, about everything I went through finally, she did say, you know, she understands now, like why I always complain about my job and whatnot, like, especially if it can make me feel like this certain way. And she's gone through everything that I've gone through. We've read everything together. And she said, you know, you had my back at one point, and this time, like, I want you to actually focus on on everything that you're going through in your health. And if that means that you like obviously everything else going on, but like you leaving that job, it's time. Like exactly how you explained to me. And like she was kind of the only person that I needed like reassurance from, because it directly affects her. And like her like opening up, like I'm getting a bit emotional about saying it now, but like her opening up and like saying that, like just like made everything that like what I was going through, just made it like kind of like reassuring that, okay, like, you know, she understands, and, you know, it'll be a bit hard, but she'll have my back. And she's kind of like the only person that I wanted, like, you know, that
reassurance from,
that validation from, you know, like I just wanted her to say, don't worry, bro, I got you. Like, you've had us throughout this whole time, and now that I got it, like yeah, I feel way better. So yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. Shit. Got me crying and shit. I thought I was gonna be all right, but like honestly, I felt like so, like in a way you feel guilty. Like as a man, you're just like, fuck, you're meant to be the provider for your family. Like one point in time that I can't, because of like the choices that I'm making, like it just makes me feel like, it just made me feel shit. And then like, yeah, just her saying that, like it was like pretty much like one of the best things, especially around like, you know, what's going on. So I'm happy that now I can focus on working on my health. Like,
bro.
Like I'm gonna, you know, start a routine. Like I know me and you've spoken about, like, you know, others who have been focusing on their health for a long time. And like we kind of make jokes about it. If you know, you know. But like honestly, this is probably the only time where I felt like this is the time that I get to focus, whether on how long it's going to take. Like, you know, I love creating content, and that's like kind of like what I love doing, like this sort of stuff, podcasting. So I've been given the green light to focus on the shit that I want to do for once, which is crazy. And like I said earlier, there's been a lot of uncertainty, especially of late, of what's gonna, like, what our future is gonna be like. You know, we had to cancel like a few of our plans already, especially like around getting an investment property, because obviously the stability of income is not there anymore. So I'm moving towards that's going to be the core focus of what I'm going to do, especially over maybe, let's say, the next year or so, is just focus on my health, man. Make sure I get my mentals right, and physically, obviously, you know, if you look good, you feel good, you play good. It's the same way. So I just want to, it's somewhere that I need to focus on, and I finally get the opportunity to. So shout out to Mons.
Yeah, bro. I think that's you know, having that support around you is really important as well. You know, I know of couples who I can basically have had kids and stuff, and you know, something like this was, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back, and you know, they're no longer together. So for you to have someone like that is a testament to the, I guess, the type of person that you are. And you know, it's like how you're feeling right now is how I felt when I actually left LJM, because
that's crazy. Yeah.
I needed, like you said, the only person I needed validation from was Martha. And when I left LJM to go work with Iron Armor, I left that on the back of like a week. So I messaged Dianama. They called me straight away and they were like, can you get down to Fountain Gate Secondary College on this day at this time?
And you were still working.
And I was still working at LGM. So like I came home that day, I had a chat to Martha about it, and she was like, you know, if this is something that you really want to do, you know, go for it. Like I got us, and I because even at the time, like I was a bit uncertain about what the pay was going to be like, what the hours were going to be like. So I pretty much just jumped in head first, had no idea what to expect, and yeah, I was lucky. Like I was lucky that she had my back, and like fucking those first couple of months were pretty rough for us, bro. And like yourself, as a man, you feel defeated because you can't provide as much as you want. But it was just reassuring knowing, you know, especially from her that, you know, it's okay. Like that was the one thing she kept saying. She was like, "It's okay. Things are gonna get better. Things are gonna get better." And you know, eventually they did, and it was then and there that I knew I was gonna marry her. So,
Oh, my man. Oh, I'm still thinking nah, jokes. But like, yeah.
So like I like that feeling that you're feeling now, like that feeling of relief to be actually be able to do something that you want to do. Like that's exactly how I felt when I left LJM, bro. Because yeah, I got caught up. I got caught up in that whole process of trying to be a provider, you know, and that whole process of just working without actually any goals or anything, like just working just to get by.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So when that yeah, when we had that conversation and she was like, go for it, yeah, I did. And now I'm trying to repay the favor, and she doesn't want to listen, but that's a whole conversation for another time.
But yeah, so yeah, again, like yeah, and like one thing that I learned, especially working from home of late since like July, bro, like I've had more time with the kids that I've ever had. Like, I'm usually gone, while the sun's down, and come home when the sun's down too, or going down. I never have those interactions straight away in the morning where you help them get ready for school and all this shit that Mon used like goes through, and then like on top of that, I pile all my shit with her and the stuff that she goes for her business. One thing that's helped her get through it, and that she always leaves home, bro. She goes to her friend. She goes and does what she needs to do, to get by. And like I kind of also thought like fuck, I was going through shit too, and I only wanted to talk to her because like again, her opinion was the only one that mattered to me, only because like sometimes I even told her like I felt like I had to post on socials about how I was feeling just to get her attention. That's like some of the pressures that I experienced in our relationship. And as much as I want to be open about like my relationship problems and issues, like she's not here to defend herself.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted, like I've been trying to encourage her, hey bro, let's just every time we have a fight, like can we get and record it? So like obviously people will go through the same shit, and like people will give us like experiences of how they've gone through it. And I know she's sick of my ass. We've been together for like the last 10 years and whatnot, but like that's what I thought would take our relationship to the next stage. Like me and her have always been open, like about talking about our feelings. She's not a feelings type of person, and like I'm like the emotional one, if that's what you want to call it. So definitely not a stereotypical male, but I can provide. So that's the only thing. But like, yeah, so I just feel like as our relationship grows, especially about what I'm excited to see, like what the next steps are. But like again, just to round off like what we've been saying, like I think I've written down a few things here. I think we need to normalize like our mental health issues, and you've spoken about it too. It's something that like obviously you need to learn what the signs are or how you're feeling, but those little feelings that you do have everything to do with mental health. So like if you ever feel unwell in any sort of way, you need to reach out. That's the main important thing, or seek help in however way you see fit.
But, it goes both ways too. Like you got to be willing to have those conversations if somebody's reaching out as well. And even if you don't feel comfortable, as long as if you can refer them on to somebody who you think will be comfortable in having those conversations with them, then by all means do that. But don't just don't just sort of sweep it under the carpet sort of thing.
Yeah, like you were the only person who said to me, "You know where I am if you need a call." like if you need to talk.
Mm.
That's why I made time to do this, because everyone else is always the same. Like, hey, bro, I'm here if you need. But you're like, you put the emphasis on them, like just to make sure that, like, you know, if you want the help, bro, I'm here to help you, but you need to come and
Yeah.
without an easy way, you have to come and get it. Like, I'm not gonna like come like speed, like spoon speed you, or oh no, spoon feed you. What the fuck? That's how I was going to get emotional. What the But yeah, I feel like, yeah, we need to normalize our mental health issues. Secondly, like, I think we need to normalize showing emotions. Like, you know, we've been on a roller coaster. We've been laughing early on. We've fucking been crying towards the end, going in and out of everything. But I definitely think, especially us being males, I think we need to normalize showing emotions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, bro. No, definitely. I think, like, it's one thing that I'm still currently working on. Like, I've cried in front of Martha, and Martha's seen it many times. But yeah, I do think that we need to be more open and showing our emotions, and not just the angry ones.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's not the emotions we're talking about. Yeah.
So we definitely, bro. I think we really we need to, and it's I don't think it's, you know, without trying to cast any prejudgment or anything, like, don't take it as a sign of weakness, because it's not. Like, I think we have every right to show our emotions as much as the next person, or, you know, the next female or non-binary or whatever fucking term that.
Hey, Ray, don't go there, Ray. You don't want to go there. Yeah. The next thing I said that we need to normalize speaking up. So, you know, like you said, if you kind of have an understanding of how you're feeling, you go and get help. You speak up about it, and like, I think you got to be honest about your feelings too, in order for you to be, like, you know, helped out correctly. Like, you just got to be honest. Normalize speaking up. The next one, which you spoke to me about, was, I've wrote here, normalize going to therapy. So, like, a lot of us, it's kind of like taboo in a way for us to go and get help. It's like, you know, we don't go to counselors.
Nah.
We've never taught to. We've always taught, hey, go see the pastor, or come talk to me about your problems, and I'll tell you how to deal with it. But like, yeah, they're unfortunately not always the correct people to talk about it. What would you say about that?
Look, I think there is a time and place for, you know, for faith and for you know, your, I guess, your religious beliefs. But then there's also a time and place for, you know, modern medicine as well.
Yep.
And I think we, especially as Cook Island people and being a Christian nation, like, we need to be understanding, and the fact that, you know, there is other help available. I'm just trying to be real cautious about how I word that, because I don't want to offend anybody, especially any of our Cook Island pastors. But yeah, I just feel like, you know, there is a time and place for everything. You know,
Definitely.
if I
You know what's the best thing I say about that? Like, just sorry to cut you off, but like, you know, one thing that I've learned is, like, especially over the last 2 years, about dealing with the shit that I'm going through and whatnot, is that, say, like, if you're of any religious belief and you believe in praying to someone, or to the high being, I guess, to voice how you're feeling and whatnot, what it does, it just gets it out of your brain. It gets it out of, like your brain can get cluttered with so many things. That's why you experience a lot of things. And people have different types of ways. People who pray, they're giving all their burdens, or everything that they're going through, they're putting it to someone else. And that's one of the, I guess, ways people have been told to, I guess, deal with it. You need to get it off your shoulders. So other people like me, I write a journal, and that way that all of those feelings that I'm feeling is no longer only with me, it's in there. When you confide in everyone, anyone, depending on where you seek help. Like some people go and speak to the ocean or whatnot. You're just getting all the burden and the way you're feeling, you're getting off your chest. So I guess it comes back to speaking, and that's how I feel about that. So like I understand how you're tiptoeing and whatnot, but I think that's might be the easiest way you can explain it. Like however you feel like you need to get off your chest, like do it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, like
Does that make sense, or did I sound like?
No, it does. I guess I'll just leave it where there's a place for everything. That's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And the last two things I wrote was, and this was off a post that I saw on Instagram too about normalizing, like all about men's mental health, normalizing not being okay. So, and I guess like we're not always fun. Like I used to be the person who goes to work and just like cheer everyone up, like dap everyone, yo, like energy all the time. And like and when you work in a toxic environment, it's like, especially if you're being genuine and everyone just high-fiving, but you go outside and fucking, did you see what so-and-so did about so-and-so? Or bro, it's fucked, man. It's fucked. And I hated always being the middleman, bro. Like, man, like people, like one thing, we always love helping people, but when everyone's coming to you for that help, that's what I mean. Like you just get overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed because you get everyone's problems and whatnot. Like imagine me getting those and then putting it on Mon. Like what she's been able to go through. She's a bloody champion. And I guess the last thing I wrote and what we've spoken about is normalize asking for help. So especially as a man, like we're taught that our problems are only our problems to deal with. Like you said it so well earlier. I can't remember the exact terminology that you wrote. The exact wording that you said was perfect on how like we're just there to provide, and that's all we worry about. Like if I could rewind it back and get the, like you said it perfectly, and when you said it, like it really hit home. So, but like I still feel like we need to normalize asking for help. Me even going to the doctors, I hope that if there's anyone listening, that you definitely don't go to my GP, but like if you're feeling a sort of way, any of the things that might be similar, either worse or better, I guess. I feel like you should I guess normalize seeking help. What do you think? Hi, Ariella.
Yeah, bro. Definitely. So this is my isolation baby who's just come in to say hello. Say hello, Uncle Jason.
Hi, Ariella. She can't see me. Can she?
You see? Yeah. No, definitely. I think I 100% agree. We do need to be open to asking for help, because building everything up leads to obviously stress, and stress unchecked can lead to other things. And ultimately I guess the ultimate outcome in the end is always suicide. So if we can sort of ask for help early on and get the help we need early on, then that'll help I guess reduce the chances or the opportunities of potentially someone committing suicide. Sorry, I've got a
Are you all right?
bad. Hey, you're making me look bad.
No, we're almost finished too, Ariella. I'm sorry for holding up the bro Tej. Bro, we've been going for 2 hours, bro. This is gold, bro. I guess to like the last things that I wanted to speak about before we finish up today is around I guess what you're trying to do to tackle I guess bringing awareness to mental health. And one of the things you're looking at doing events like monthly, and which we participated in our first one. So I guess what are your plans? And I guess definitely it helped me. Like, man, I learned so much about people that are family that are struggling and going through like so much just by going through that walk. The main thing of that walk was to bring awareness, and some people came just because they wanted someone to talk to about what they were going through, that's what you're doing it for. And it was so interesting to know, but like these stuff actually work. So yeah, what else you got in the pipeline?
Well, I think the walk is definitely something that I would like to continue. The main thing that I guess myself and Millie are trying to build is we just want to try and have a safe space for us to talk about our mental problems or our mental health issues, because right now there really isn't any, especially if you're brown, regardless of whether you're Samoan, Tonga, Kaukana, like there isn't anything out there for us And I say that because I've been to a lot of programs and you don't see us in there.
Yep.
And whether it's because it's run by without trying to sound racist or anything, whether it's run by the white man or not, um, you don't see us in there because there are some things that they don't understand, and there are some things that only we know.
Yep.
So the whole idea with the walk was one, just to help spread mental health awareness, especially because October was the month for mental health and it was coming to an end. But with the outcome that we had, and it looked real. It was really heartwarming to see everyone come out, and like you said, some of the conversations we had. So I feel like it probably should be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, definitely.
In the future, I do. So I'm currently still working on trying to develop a mental health type program aimed at our Pacific Island people. So it'll be something by us for us kind of thing. So again, like there's people that we know, or only recently, like I found out that one of the boys that we went to school with is on an NDIS plan, but his services, like he's working, he has a support worker, but um just the fact that he was in the system and I didn't know about it, especially with his mental health, like for me,
Crazy.
yeah, was like a massive wake up call. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you've got your own people who are starting to access these funding for their mental health. Like, what have you got for them to go to? So that is something that I'm currently trying to work on and trying to develop. But I think for now, just having a safe space for us to come together and have conversations around our mental health is the main goal. So yeah, if you're listening and you follow us on Facebook or Insta, keep a lookout because damn, was kind of not keen on doing one this month because it falls on my birthday, but
hey man, you got to do it for the people,
yeah,
man.
exactly, bro. So I don't know. Maybe since I'm turning 31 on the 29th, maybe we'll do 31 laps.
Bro, you're dreaming, mate.
But nah, look, yeah, I'll definitely keep everyone in the pipelines, and we'll see what we come up with. But most likely, it's more about just coming together and having a space for us to talk, bro.
Yeah, no worries. So TJ, thank you very much for listening to me, open up about, the things that I've been going through. You're one person that I definitely trust around this space. You said it earlier too, like you have to find that, like some people find a place where they're comfortable. Some people can confide in people who makes them feel comfortable. And you're definitely one of the people and I wanted to record this to make sure that, if there's people out there who are going through something similar to know that you're not alone, firstly. Secondly, that you need to find a place of comfort where you can go and seek help, and make sure that you confide in them. Like, you be honest about like your feelings. It's the only way that you can come out better on the other side. I know definitely I've grown so much over the last like 2 months, maybe even the last week, and then especially from this conversation tonight. Thank you for, I guess, jumping on the roller coaster ride with me today.
Sweet as, bro. Thank you. Again, like I said earlier, thank you for opening up. Like I know it's not easy to be able to do that sort of thing. So thank you for opening up. I just do want to do a quick shout out, if that's okay.
Of course, bro.
I just want to say a massive shout out to my wife for looking after me these last couple of days.
Oh yeah.
Especially being in lockdown. She sort of slacked off on towards the back end there with but no, I'm grateful that she took it upon herself to be able to care for me. She didn't have to. She, I reckon if she had the money to, she'd probably put herself up in a hotel for the next 14 days and just
harder.
But I'm grateful for her and for everything that she's done, and also to the two boys as well. Like
yep.
Just being able to be respectful around us, especially with baby and stuff, and looking out for us as well. I know it's because of me that we're in this situation, but just having them and their understanding as well has been like, it's helped me process things a lot better. And yeah, do you want to say anything before we finish? No? Okay.
What was I going to say to finish off? Oh man, I just went blank for some reason. But yeah, I just want to thank you for jumping on. Hopefully, we can definitely have more of these types of discussions like moving forward. I guess for people who can follow you on your journey now, like I feel like even I've seen with Kuda, like he's been posting a little bit more and more now, like, and I feel like for you, going into the space, I'm going to share everything that you put out just to help bring awareness to, but like, where can people find you? Because start to push you on your journey too.
Well, so Facebook is obviously TJ Nanai. If you don't have me, or if you feel uncomfortable with adding me, that's all good. If you have my wife as a friend, just pass her the message, and she can pass it on to me. On Insta, I'm under TJ_Nanai, but I also do have I have my podcast page as well.
I forgot to mention you're the host of the Keep It Simple podcast. I forgot that shit. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, so I have my own podcast page, which is Keep It Simple. I haven't been posting, or I haven't been recording lately because again of lockdown and all that. But I think this is a good push to get back into that space and start recording. So no, thank you for having me. And man, this has been one of the best conversations we've had in a long time. So
100%. All right, thank you, bro. Everyone, make sure you go follow us on on all our socials. I appreciate your time, my bro.
All good, bro.
Later.
Later.